British ports are crucial to the UK economy, with 95% of our international trade travelling by sea. So it's critical that port development keeps pace with market growth. Sharon Thomas reports from the White Cliffs on how one of our iconic ports, the Port of Dover, is changing with the times.
Welcome to the busiest ferry port in Europe. Here at the Port of Dover, they handle more than 13 million passengers and 5 million vehicles a year, as well as supporting 22,000 jobs. It's the shortest sea crossing to Europe and a vital trade route for the UK. And now there are exciting plans for major expansion to meet demand for future growth. There's been a port here since Roman times. Dover's unique location and world-class operations enable it to handle more than £100 billion worth of trade every year. They're now investing in a £200 million project that will transform the port and deliver increased capacity for the long term.
By any measure, Dover's the busiest port in the UK, whether we look at that in terms of shipping movements or an equivalent number of passengers handled. We're at the forefront of UK trade, handling £100 billion worth of freight through Dover, and we're putting ourselves in a position to create a new cargo terminal that's going to create many, many more jobs and really reinforce our position in the UK.
The Dover Western Docks Revival project is a 5-year development that will transform cargo operations. It will also lead to a more efficient ferry operation, as well as creating a vibrant new waterfront and 600 new jobs.
The UK economy as a whole will benefit immensely from this particular project. It's uniquely placed strategically, so what that will give us is the benefit of a long-term legacy type project, which will stand in good stead for the future of both UK and the local Dover economy.
Ferry operators work seamlessly with the port to ensure an efficient service for passengers and their vehicles. P&O operate 58 sailings a day in and out of Dover.
There are hundreds of thousands of firms whose supply chains are dependent on cross-channel travel. We carry 6,000 units of freight across the channel every single day. Every year, the Port of Dover carries around 2.5 million lorries.
The harbour master's job is to ensure the safe passage of vessels in and out of the port. Recently, this has included bigger cruise ships.
A harbour master is critical within the port. We have ships moving in and out 24 hours a day, cargo vessels, cruise vessels. We've got traffic on the roads moving in and out of the port, and we're trying to keep everything moving as safely and as swiftly as possible.
I am responsible for the safe and efficient movement of up to 120 ferries in and out of Dover a day, a combined figure of 300 cruise and cargo visits. And intermingled in all of that is the leisure craft.
We ensure that all the traffic gets to the right place in the lanes, and we deal with all the operators that's necessary to keep this port running.
The port is now looking to the future and how it can deliver for Dover and the nation.
We're still committed to being the best port in the world for the benefit of our customers and community, but I'd also say we're a fabulous place that's about to create some real sustainable regeneration.
The Port of Dover, a modern international gateway, but steeped in history, looking forward to the next exciting chapter.
The growth of our maritime business is closely linked to our attractiveness as an international business centre. Industry leaders are encouraging government and the private sector to do their part in protecting the future. Let's hear from them now.
It's essential that the UK, not just London, but other cities in the UK, are considered to be friendly to international business. So, clearly that relates to the ability from people from overseas to work in the UK. It relates to the ability in terms of the tax regime. The UK is a very attractive place, as we know from the number of EU people that come to live in this country. And that's its attractiveness. It's a magnet for people from all over the world. And we just need to make sure that in terms of looking after our own country's interests, that we don't put those people at a disadvantage.
the UK government has set up a study into shipping called the Growth Study, which is underway now. And this is a very enlightened approach by the government, because it would be easy for them to say, it's none of our business, you'll just have to fall in line with everyone else. But they know in shipping they have a tremendous asset here, because it's, let's face it, they didn't really do anything to set it up. It's come here historically because of the dominance the UK had in trade in the 18th century, and it's just stayed. And I think they've worked out, if I can be so presumptuous to say they've worked it out now, they probably worked it out a long time ago. It's actually a fantastic story. It's one of the greatest businesses that the UK has.
Global shipping companies and their financial backers can sometimes find themselves in dangerous waters, unwittingly aiding money laundering or terrorist financing. Knowing who you're trading with and what you're involved in is essential. Polestar is helping the industry to navigate the risks with its innovative technology and software solutions. Julie McDonald has more.
Shipping is big business for UK PLC, and much of the trade associated with this £32 billion industry flows through here in the City of London. But the complex geopolitical situation and resulting sanctions mean that maritime trade faces big challenges.
Sanctions are probably the most complex and fast-changing they've ever been. Businesses certainly have fallen foul of the sanctions, and these are very onerous restrictions that are imposed, and the penalties that can be imposed as a result are very serious. I mean, certainly if you put yourselves in the shoes of a director of a company which had breached the sanctions, he'd be concerned about the reputational issues first and foremost, the impact on the business and whether counterparties would continue trading with them, likewise whether they find themselves on the front page of the paper.
For big financial institutions, finding a way to keep on top of this ever-changing sanctions landscape is crucial. Proving who and where you're trading to prevent the risk of money laundering and terrorist financing is forcing companies to innovate. And sanctions expert Ian Stewart from King's College London believes industry needs a bolder strategy to deal with ever-changing regulation.
When we think about sanctions compliance in industry, in the industrial sectors, I think there has to be a common approach to all of them. So therefore we're talking about having a common compliance system. The sheer quantity of different assets that are being moved around there creates a fundamental challenge with regards to the volume of information that we have to deal with.
Shipping software company Polestar have developed Purple Track, a ship-based security tool which helps financial institutions and governments to comply with sanctions by screening vessels and their owners and creating a paper trail that keeps a dedicated record of their decision-making. Michael Jankowski is the company's chairman.
There are three modules: there's a screening, a tracking and a reporting. It can't be tampered with at any point in time. So because of that, it's totally transparent, it's verifiable.
Every ship over 100 gross tons will be in this database.
Polestar's Charles Ike showed me how this simple tool is saving financial institutions and governments time and money.
Over here you get the full details of the ship and the ownership and management, which is the most important bit. These are the entities that we actually check against the sanctions list. Okay. We've got the overall status, critical, right at the top. So a critical alert means that the ship has actually been associated to a sanctioned entity or is on a sanctions list. And the idea is that individuals are able to make quick decisions on whether or not they can transact.
Just how vital is this software?
The amount of time that people have had to spend on compliance is enormous. And when you don't have technology helping you, this type of activity, which takes us, we do it in 30 seconds. It would take them a day, 2 days. And I had one trader who told me, he said, "You've given me my life back." Not only are we adding a layer of speeding up the process, but we're actually adding a layer of confidence in the results.
For Robert Bittard and Jean-Pierre Wandler from UBS Bank, being able to show that they're complying with sanctions and regulations is vital at every step.
It was clear for us that the expansion of the franchise has to be accompanied with stronger means of controls. As many of the key risk areas in the CTF business relate to sanctions, embargo, fraud, etc., we felt that it was important to professionalize even more and at the same time to bring to bring in a dedicated tools for our teams.
And Purple Track uses big data to make sure its users don't fall foul of regulations. It also uses 2 types of ship tracking, adding another layer of confidence for UBS Bank.
We can make sure we as a bank and our clients comply with the latest sanctions and embargoes country list. And also for us as a bank, we can follow the voyage of a given vessel and tie it back to the information provided by the client. And this is important because we base our financing decisions on that information.
Polestar's powerful and innovative software is allowing banks and trade finance to flourish in increasingly difficult times.
Marine insurance plays a vital role in supporting international shipping and global commerce. However, the commercial challenges facing the shipping industry are changing the landscape of the insurance market. Sue Saville reports now on how worldwide insurer DGS Marine Group is responding to these changes.
Shipping has been particularly hard hit by the global economic downturn. The supply of vessels now outstrips demand. Ship owners must tighten their belts if they're to survive. Those who've weathered downturns before, like Foresight Limited, a 30-year-old shipping company, say that finding ways to cut and control operational costs is key to staying in business.
Many ship owners have gone bankrupt. It's as serious as that. At the moment, the oil prices have crashed, so as a consequence of which there is the need for transportation has become less. So the rates keep falling, competition prevails. Certain things are fixed, but if there is a chance to have your insurance, which is absolutely required, for a better cost, it helps a lot.
To address this, a leading marine insurance underwriter, DGS Marine, has focused on providing fixed premiums for protection and indemnity (P&I) insurance, rather than the mutual club model, which leaves members liable for claims from the wider group.
Ship owners were approaching us to find a tailor-made product that could suit them at a cost that they can afford. It depends on the particulars of what the owner is looking for, and also his trading area where he is focusing his main business on. We are able to tailor-made our products to suit their requirements. So if for 6 months of the year if he's trading globally, then we can factor that in. If he then, the end of the other 6 months, he's only trading between the Middle East and the Far East, again we can factor that into the product as well. The response time of 24 hours is very appreciative in the sense that whether it's a technical issue, whether it's an underwriting issue, whether it's a claims issue, they know that if they have sent an inquiry on the Friday or at any time, they get a response within 24 hours.
Following the downturn, demand for fixed premium insurance has risen. Before 2008, the weighted average of vessel earnings was over $28,000 a day. Now it's fallen to less than $12,000 a day. Fixed premium P&I insurance has grown from around 3% of the market share 5 years ago to some 8% now. In the competitive business of adding value for customers, this team prides itself on speaking the same language as their clients, many being seafarers themselves.
We are one of the few companies as a fixed premium P&I club. We are with a good amount of expertise, which comes from ex-master mariners, lawyers that have been involved in this business for the last, veterans actually of the P&I world, that they are with us. Competent lawyers and handlers of claim.
London is at the heart of the shipping insurance industry, and it's from this capital that DGS Marine coordinates its global network of services to a seafaring industry with changing economic and insurance needs.
DGS, through its strategic growth, has opened in the last 5 years 10 offices worldwide, which is taking into account our clients' locations and also DGS's strategic planning in being closer to their clients, to be available to them within the time zone, and also allowing them to be able to contact us should they have any problems 24/7, 365 days of the year, which I think is very important in this fast-paced shipping business that we're in.
Getting the right people on the case quickly is vital to the client and insurer, according to one independent surveyor who recalled a major incident handled by DGS Marine after a ship hit an oil rig near Doha.
And the speed of response was tremendous. That professional understanding and connect was something that stood out in my view, which I would say sticks in my mind straight away. I was the principal surveyor, and I can tell you from memory, there are far and few such claims that have gone fantastically smooth, and the client was delighted.
Finding new ways to serve the client and control costs may mean the difference between a business sinking or staying afloat in these stormy economic times.